All right, parents, thank you for your patience. We're going to go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to our November Parent as Part of Network meeting. We're so glad to have you, so glad to see you tonight. Glad you can come out and join us on this cold, rainy day. I guess there's nothing going on outside, so we're here together on this meeting tonight. We got a special presentation from Mr. Michael Cheatham, the Vice President, Senior Branch Manager at Comerica Bank, talking about financial literacy, something that we can all participate in. But at first, we're going to have our first updates from the elementary school principal, Mr. Anderson. If you could join us and go ahead and give an update to the parents.
Good evening, parents. I don't have many updates, but I'll go over the few that I have. We had a great, our fourth graders had a great time on November 6th. They went to the UOD basketball game. So they was able to see the women's basketball team play. That's a typical trip that we go on every year. And that's designated for our fourth graders. Our second graders had an opportunity to go to the parade company. We had actually all of our classrooms go to the parade company on the 11th, the 12th, and the 15th. So that's also a great opportunity. That's also a field trip that's designated solely to the second graders for that experience. The parade company, as many of you may know, they design all of the floats for the Thanksgiving Day parade. Speaking of Thanksgiving, we'll be closed starting Wednesday of next week for a Thanksgiving break. That's November 27th through the 29th, and school is going to resume on the 2nd, December 2nd. Up and coming events before we close out, 2024. We have our Learning Gizmos Family Math Festival. That's going to be December 3rd. That's going to be from 4 to 5:30 p.m. I did send out a robo message in that regard. We will be sending out more information. Should be a note going home with your students. And also, we're going to send out another robo blast. Dinner will be provided. And so basically, we're in partnership with Learning Gizmos. Learning Gizmos is an organization or a store that provides learning games. And so the focus of the night is going to be mathematics. And so we want our families to come out and play some math games. And so it should be a great event. And also dinner will be provided. And that's on December 3rd. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, December 5th and 6th is our holiday picture day. So information will be coming home shortly in that regard. We have our parent-teacher conference on December 10th. That was a change. You should have got that information. Prior, it was the 17th, but we moved it up to December 10th. So in normal format, we'll have an early release, and then parent-teacher conference start at 3 p.m. And we also have another early release on December 17th, where students get out at 2 p.m. And I believe that's all for the elementary. I'll be here if you have any questions.
Mr. Anderson, you want to talk about that great trunk or treat that you had took place last month?
Yes. Yes, we had a very good turnout. We had over 400 participants, close to 100 trunks. So families, thank you for that wonderful event. It's been something that we've done for a long time. As I was riding around on Miss Wilson's bicycle trying to take pictures, I had an opportunity to stop and talk to some parents, and one of the parents, they indicated that the reason that they like this event is because it's safe. And that's the reason that we do it. We want a safe environment for our students and an opportunity for them to experience Halloween in that fashion.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Yes, that's been a traditional event at the Chandler Park Academy Elementary School for years. So and every year it gets better and better and bigger. So elementary parents, if you didn't participate this year, please try to make sure next year it's a K through 5 activity. Make sure that you join us next year. Middle school principal, Mr. Tim Green, you're up next.
Good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. Again, This is actually my going into my 6th week, so moving pretty fast, and a lot of good things have occurred really last month, and some good things occurring this month, and some really good things and different things I'm planning to do with the school and the students as we proceed during the rest of the school year. But for last month, we did a number of things. We went to our middle school young ladies went to a STEM conference, and that was a very that was October the 4th, and that was a really informative type of um, um, conference. We really gave a lot of exposure to different types of things. We took 30 students and 2 adults went, and so it's for our young ladies, and generally young ladies are as a whole are usually not as engaged with STEM, and we wanted to give them the exposure, and so they got the exposure and they had a great time. Um, and we also took a group of students to Tennessee State with our performing arts coordinator, Mr. Thomas. That was October the 4th through the 6th, and that was really a blast. Get an opportunity to go down to HBCU and just play and just get an opportunity to get some exposure. I think the difference in between with people in the world is the amount of exposure they're exposed to, and so for our students to be able to be in middle school and to participate in that process and to be on a college, a university campus is really immeasurable. And I think it was, I'm not really sure how many students. I know with some, I think some high schools as well went, was collection of our middle school and high school band, and it was a great experience for our kids. So I really appreciated that. We also, for the month of October, we celebrated a breast cancer awareness month, and we did a fundraiser called the Pink and Denim, and our young ladies. That was actually the campaign was Friday, October 18th, and we were able to donate $500 on behalf of our students in our school to support the research and with the foundation. So that's a great piece of we want to always teach our kids about community service, giving back, pouring back into your own community. So that was a really a great experience for our young ladies. The Lady Butterflies, the club that was the group that put that on. We also had our we call it our trifecta night, which was a night which included Meet Mr. Green, Title One, as well as what's the other one, Mr. Williams? I can't think of the other
Meet the principal, Title One, open house,
open house, yes. And so, it wasn't as many people as I thought I wanted to be, but the ones who showed up, we had a very robust conversation around about our school, kind of recognizing what our school is and highlighting our school, and you know, just make it being proud of who we are, showing who we are, and just some ideas on how we move forward, and really talking about the value of our kids being able to stay at CPA all the way from elementary through high school. So just some of the great things that we have going, and that oftentimes we don't talk about, and we said that we will start doing that, sharing and telling our story, because nobody can tell your story better than you can. And so we talked about a lot about that, and so that was a really good experience, and just kind of like a fireside chat. That's what it was, kind of like an open conversation, but it was pretty good. We also had our Lady Butterflies Halloween and trick and treat giveaway celebration. That was very nice. Again, we had there was almost 50 young students who participated in that, And again, just, giving back, it's always to give than to receive. And so we want to teach our young people the the art and the reason why we do being showing humility and appreciation for your common man and common woman, and just really pouring back into the community. So that was another great event that we did for our kids. And the last thing we did, we want to celebrate the students who are who are being good examples, who are able to follow the the code of conduct consistently. And each month we tend to, at the end of the month, we celebrate those students with some kind of activity. Last month we did a PBIS rewards dance, and we had 388 our students who was able to attend because, again, their ability to consistently follow the code of conduct and just be kind and respectful to themselves as well as to staff and their peers. So that was a blast. Again, it was a lot of fun. They had pizza and other things for also as treats for their behavior, which again, that's supplied by the school, because again, we want to encourage them just to be really to be good citizens, not to be perfect citizens, but to be good citizens and understanding their value as young people. So that was the month. So that all happened in October, obviously, but we still wanted to make sure we talk about it because it's important. For this month, we've started a number of things. In fact, tomorrow we have a ice cream social, and students are able to and a part of that is it's a fundraiser for our 8th grade students, and students are able to dress down for $5 and enjoy ice cream. And when all the proceeds that we make will go towards the 8th grade graduation committee. And so I meet quite a bit, or met quite a bit with the 8th grade leaders, and we got a lot of things on that they want to do, and I always tell them if it's good for kids, it's good for me. So I don't ever say no to anything, particularly if it makes sense and it's going to help them grow as young people. So we got a number of things we're working on behind the scene that we're going to be moving forward with, and we'll talk more about that later. But for this month, we also I think Mr. Anderson talked about the parent teacher conference. We also, for me, what I'm very happy about, we're looking deeply into our data and in our standardized test scores, and we're going to be reaching out to you guys to talk about our data and how we can help move our students' academic performance on standardized tests. But that's again, that's a heavy lift, but we want to certainly include you guys in the process and make sure that we are on the same page. We are having a winter concert, which is the December 12th. So that's will be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we are looking forward to you guys attending that, even if your child's may not be involved in it. It's still great for camaraderie and school spirit for that to happen. We also have Spirit Week coming up in December, which is December 16th to the 20th. So we implore you guys to do that. We're going to be also doing this year, we're going to be doing a door decorating contest, I'm sorry, for our middle school first hour. So every classroom in middle school going to have opportunity to decorate their door for holiday season, and then we'll have a panel of people judge it, and we'll have a winner in the 8th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, and then we have overall winner. So just really getting into the spirit of just of the holiday spirit, and whether you celebrate holiday or not, it's a time of the year that I just think it's so serene, and so it's just a beautiful time. So we want to make sure, because many of our students do they do celebrate that. So we want to just make sure they have opportunity to experience that. And I think that is pretty much all I have to say right now, other than to say, hey, you're welcome to come into the building. Please, I implore you to reach out to me and to have conversation around whatever it may be as it relates to your child's education. Certainly, I'm always looking for solutions and looking for ways to build relationships with the community. So again, thank you again. And if I have any questions, I'll answer right now.
Thank you, Principal Green. So we'll take a pause. If anybody, parents, if you can unmute yourself, if I have any questions for Mr. Anderson or Mr. Principal Green, you are more than welcome to just unmute yourself and chime in right now. If not, we will go on to the high school. And again, you will have the opportunity to ask questions at the end of the presentation as well, for Mr. Cheatham as well. So if you got any questions for us, we are here. We have these meetings so we can make sure we are connecting with our clientele. Mr. Erickson, you're up next. High school principal, Mr. Erickson.
All right, good evening, parents. A few positive pieces of news from the high school. Our volleyball young ladies did win districts for, I believe, the third or fourth year in a row. Really exciting if you do have a child who's interested in athletics. Right now we have male and female basketball going on. Spring sports will start around April or March or April time with conditioning, and we have baseball, softball, as well as track and field. Also, we received our PSAT scores back, and we have a number of students in 11th grade, 10th grade, and even some 9th graders who are part of our 900 club, who scored a 900, which means they are on track to get some big time scholarships. So we are going to be rewarding them with some food, putting their picture up in the front of the building, and really exciting for all of our students there. Some upcoming events, excuse me, on the 26th, Tuesday before the break, we are having a Fall Fest, which is really pep rally for students and staff to participate in some staff for student volleyball and basketball games. Should be a really exciting time, and we just want to stress the importance of attendance on that day. Obviously, I'm probably talking to the wrong group of parents here because you are on the PPN meeting, but if you could spread the word, we have had to repeat a day at the end of the year because we've had low attendance on some days before break. So we're trying to make it fun, trying to make it exciting for the students. We're going to do some learning, but also the last hour and a half or so, we'll do something fun. On the 29th, that is the Friday after Thanksgiving, the high school, middle, and elementary students in the marching band will be performing at the Grosse Pointe Santa Claus Parade, and that is at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. the Friday after Thanksgiving. It's a great opportunity to see some of our students out there from all three buildings. It's really, really nice to see the elementary students side by side with the high school students. We also have an athletic banquet for the high school on December 4th. So communication will be coming out for that if you have a student who was a fall athlete. So that would be football and volleyball, as well as cross country. That would be for those students. And then heading into December, we're not going to have a December PPN meeting. We do have a fun event for students. We have a skating party on the 13th of December. That is off-site. Obviously, we're not skating in the gymnasium. So there'll be information about that going out. That's open to all students. Another fun event for them. We will have staff chaperones there. On the 19th, we have Alumni Day. So our alumni will come back. They'll speak to students about college, careers, trade schools, wherever they happen to be, and their options when they leave. And on the 19th, we will also have our winter concert. That pretty much takes us through December. And when we come back, we're going to be really hitting the ground running on preparation for the SAT and the PSAT. We're going to have a boot camp program 2 days a week, possibly Saturdays also for our 10th and 11th grade students. But our 11th grade students, this is the real SAT. So it's really a big time for them. And on the 7th, we will have a parent meeting for all 11th grade parents. And we're going to talk about all the opportunities they have, break down their test scores. So look out for that as soon as we come back from the Christmas break. That's really all the dates. And the last thing I really just want to underscore, and we've been communicating about this, is just that attendance is so important, especially as we head into November and December, and we have some of these breaks just coming every day. Every day they're learning, every day they're doing assignments. despite what they may tell you, every day is really important, and there's a huge correlation between high attendance and high grades. So just wanted to put that out there. And if there's any questions for the high school, I can take those at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Erickson. Thank you so much for your presentation. Our principals, Principal Anderson, Green, and Mr. Erickson, again, they'll be on the call. If you guys think of anything at the last minute, you may want to ask them. They are here to support you. So parents, if you had logged in a little bit later, please make sure that you put your child's name and grade in the chat. Please put your child's name and grade in the chat. Just also a heads up, we communicate with parents pretty much 3 different ways: robocall, robo-text, and robo-email. So if you're not receiving a text or email, please email me directly. I'll put my email in the chat. We want to make sure that you get all the information. Twice a month, we have a bi-weekly newsletter that comes out, highlighting all of the different things that all the principals talk about today, and even more things. And we want to make sure we put our students and our staff at the forefront, get our parents a chance to know them and hear about their story, hear about their success story. So again, to look out for the Chandler Park Academy newsletter twice a month. Also, please make sure you follow us on social media. We are on well, at least I know Facebook, and I believe Twitter. The main one I do is Facebook. So please make sure anything that's going on as far as an event for the month will be on our Facebook page. We advertise those events every day. So something is new, something encouraging, something supportive is on our Facebook page. So please make sure you join our Facebook page, parents. About the upcoming parent-teacher conference, which will be in the next 2 weeks. And at this point in time, the elementary and middle school have also completed their first round of NWA MAP testing. So parents, if you have not yet received your report, please let me know so I can make sure that you is this 9th grade do NWA to Mr. Erickson?
Yeah, 9th grade, 10th grade, and then any upperclassman who's in CTE.
Right. So parents, at this point in time, we want to make sure that we include you in the conversation, that you are aware where your child is showing up for standardized testing. And this is a test that we do at least 3 times a year. And we just finished our first round about a couple weeks ago now. But we want to make sure that you are aware and that you're in communication and we're partnered together. So if you have not received your child's MAP testing score range, please email me and I'll make sure we touch to the school. We'll get it to you directly. We want to make sure you're a part of that conversation. All right, I think we're ready for our special presenter for the night. I want to start off by saying we had a great event on this past Monday. Mr. Michael Cheatham is a part of the Shipley Family Foundation, and that is the foundation in honor of our founder, Reverend Anthony Shipley, who started Chandler Park Academy 26 years ago. And so with this foundation, their goal this year is to help bring financial literacy to in a multiple of different platforms to students, staff, and parents. And one of the things they were able to do, they partnered up with the Atlanta Life Insurance Company, which is owned by Magic Johnson. And they did a book donation to the district of all African-American authors that will be held in our media center. And that donation took place on this past Monday. So they're already working, already boots on the ground, already supporting the district. And there's much more programs and partnerships that come through the Shipley Family Foundation. So Mr. Michael Cheatham is Comerica Vice President and Senior Bank Manager. He's going to give us a presentation for the night. Mr. Cheatham, we're all yours.
Well, I wish I knew that Mr. Cheatham you were talking about. I want to be him. But good evening, everybody. A special shout out to the parents on the line. As a parent myself, I know how difficult it is with all of the other things that go along with parenting our children to take time out to pour into their academic achievement beyond just making sure that they get out of the bed in the morning and do their homework, which even though my child is a sophomore, junior in high school, we still struggle with those things. So this is great to see so many of you participating in these types of programs that the school puts on. I have the pleasure of not only being a mentee of Anthony Shipley, I also am a board member of Chandler Park Academy. So I get to hear about all of the great things that the principals were just describing, and to be able to support that in some way. I'm always amazed at just how expansive the offerings are at Chandler Park Academy. And having gone and doing a lot of things in a lot of different schools, I'm a bit biased because I'm on the board, but I can tell you Chandler Park is head and shoulders above so many schools that I go into every day. So you are very fortunate to have your child at Chandler Park Academy. And I would like to thank Mr. Williams and all of the school leaders for the great work that they do every day to make sure that our children are prepared, not only academically, but for life after school. And so today's event, or today's program, is designed to help you as a parent be even better prepared out there in the world as it relates to your finances. I know that the term is financial literacy. You hear that often. But I would like to help us think about things a little bit differently. And instead of talking about literacy, which sounds like an on and off switch, either you're literate or you're not, I like to talk about it as education, because education is an ongoing process. So you can always get better. There's always more to learn. And it also helps us feel differently about where we are today. So it's not that you're not necessarily literate. There's just more that we want to learn. And so we're here to make ourselves available to give you information that we have found and that we feel will help you be more financially successful. Everybody is at a different place on the continuum. And so we're going to meet you where you are. And so while we have a particular presentation that we have, the real goal here is to make ourselves available to you to answer questions that you have along your financial journey. And so today we're going to do a real basic conversation about budgeting, saving and investing, but know that we are prepared to talk about any number of things related to personal finance and small business. So not only are we going to talk about throughout the course of this program, personal finance, we're also going to talk to you entrepreneurs and business owners about how to make the most of your financial journey. And so I'm going to share the screen here. And I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to talk pretty quickly. This presentation usually takes about an hour. Admittedly, that's usually because I talk a lot. But I will jump through some screens here and there. So let me start the slideshow from the beginning. Okay, are you all able to see the screen?
Yes.
All right. And are you seeing the PowerPoint, or are you seeing the presentation itself? Because I'm running.
We're seeing what we're seeing.
Are you seeing the slides on the side, or are you seeing just the one slide?
Slides on the side, and slides on the side, and the bigger slide in the middle.
Okay, yeah. Let me change that then. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to move the main slides to the middle. So let me undo that. Okay. All right, give me just a second here. All right, share screen. Okay, how's that?
You're not sharing screen yet.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It is share.
Okay.
There you
How's
go.
that? Okay,
You're
great.
good.
Okay, so building wealth, budgeting, saving, and investing. So, first thing we want to talk about is the difference between being poor and being broke. A lot of times, I like to start with this because a lot of times people don't necessarily know that there is a difference. So, when we talk about poor, that's usually when you don't have sufficient income or resources to purchase the things that you and your family need, right? And then broke is when you have sufficient income or resources to buy the things that you and your family need, but it's not enough because of how we spend the money. And so, what we talk about is helping to make better decisions with our money, which will then allow us to move forward financially. And so, part of that is changing a mindset. So, oftentimes, when you have bankers come out and talk to you about, different things related to banking or finance, it's about things you can't do, things you can't have, how you can't buy things and the things that you want. And so what we like to do is have you think more about making an adjustment. So it does, so that the things that you are wanting to purchase or the things that you may have to wait to purchase aren't necessarily seen as a sacrifice, but an adjustment. And we want you to remember that it's never too late to do better with wherever you are. So one of the first things that we want to get into is a budget. And so many of you are probably very familiar with the term budget. If you're anything like me, it's sometimes hard to stick with a budget, but this is the first key to being successful financially. It is the first key to being successful financially. And so what we want to start with is how much you have coming in. Now, most budgets are built on a monthly basis because that's usually how our bills go. So we here is just a really basic skeleton of what you want to do to get started. So you just want to list all of your monthly income, whatever those sources might be. You want to put those down, and then you're going to add them together. So you have a total income amount. Then you're going to go over to the expenses side. And so with the expenses, at the very top, as you see here, we have savings. Now, oftentimes when we have these conversations, people feel as if, hey, maybe I can't save because of all of all of the financial responsibilities I have. It's very difficult to save. So we want you to think about saving as not again as a sacrifice, but an adjustment. We also want you to think about it as paying yourself first. So whenever we talk about saving, when you hear the word saving, we want you to think about it as paying yourself first because you are the CEO of your life. And so any business owner knows that, in a perfect world, the business owner gets paid first. And so as you are earning income, as before you start, paying DTE or Comcast or whoever your phone plan is with or anything, you want to think about paying yourself first. And I recognize, it may not start as a large amount at the beginning, but it's about building habits. And so as you're developing your budget, you want to make sure that there's a line item there for you to pay yourself first. Now, I'll give you a really quick exercise that I would suggest. So most adults have what I like to call a $5 a day habit. Now, what I mean by that is they're spending or we're spending $5 a day or the equivalent of $5 a day on something we already admit that we probably don't need. Sometimes it's that Starbucks, sometimes it's that Tim Hortons, sometimes it's some other stuff that we don't usually like talk about. I won't say the lottery or FanDuel or some of that other stuff. And so again, when we have these conversations, oftentimes people are like, oh, here we go again with somebody from the bank telling me what I can't do with my money. Well, no, you deserve to enjoy your money. But the goal is don't enjoy it so much today that you are stressed tomorrow. And so let's think about this $5 a day habit. And for the sake of this conversation, we're going to take a regular week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So instead of buying that thing every day that week, you buy it 3 days that week. So instead of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you just buy it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So now you're saving what? $10 a week. And I recognize that $10 a week does not sound like a lot of money. I get that. But again, we're going to start small. So let's stretch that out. So in most months, there are 4 weeks. So now every month you're saving $40 a month, right? Which again, may not sound like a lot of money, but it's a start. Now, when we stretch it out further and we go a year, well, now we got 12 months at $40. Now that's $480. And so I don't care how rich you are. If somebody walks up and gives me $500, I think that's pretty good. And so now, even when you don't think you can save, you figured out how to make sure that you have at least $500 available a year from now. Now, the other great thing about this is you're going to actually get a bonus because there's 52 weeks in a year. So instead of $480, now you're going to have $520. So just imagine if a year from now, you had an additional $500 for the holidays even, let alone a bill or something like that. Or what we also suggest is as you're saving, one of your goals should be a 3 to 6 month cushion for your current bills. So you basically add up what you normally would pay for your utilities, what you normally pay for your rent or your mortgage, what you normally pay for your car note. Add those types of bills up, multiply it by 3 or 6, and then make that your savings goal. And so this $500 can go a long way towards that. That's a nice chunk of somebody's rent. That's a good piece of a car payment. This is how you want to start this process. So maybe your number may not be $5 a day. Your number may be $1 a day. Your number may be $20 a day, depending on your circumstance. But that process of not necessarily giving up something for the whole week, but just giving it up for a few days each week can really help you move forward in your savings process. The other thing that I listed here is being honest. And why do I say be honest? I say be honest because especially on the expense side, when we're doing this exercise, we're usually thinking about those things that come to mind right off the top of our head, like our rent or mortgage, like our utilities. But there's a lot of stuff that we spend money on a regular basis that we don't even pay attention to. So another exercise that I would suggest to you, and hey, I know that this might be uncomfortable for some of us, so maybe you go in a dark room and do it with nobody around. But gentlemen, I dare you to go in your wallet. I dare you to go in your cup holder, the visor in your car, or the floor in your car, and pick up all of those receipts for all of that stuff you bought that you didn't record anywhere or didn't think anything else about until after you swiped your card. Ladies, dump your purse. Take all of those pieces, those little pieces of paper, those little receipts from Starbucks and McDonald's and all of this stuff, lay them out, stack them by month and add them together. You would be surprised how much money we're spending that we're not even paying attention to. Because oftentimes the reason that those receipts wind up on the floor is because we're not doing anything with them after we swipe our card. Look at those numbers, look at those receipts, and you'll be surprised at how much money you're actually spending on those sorts of things. And so that's another area where you can A, find some saving, or B, as part of the honesty test, look at the thing that you're paying on a regular basis. And maybe you just list that as a bill. As a matter of fact, on this particular exercise, you see at the bottom of the screen, we have some lines for other, some lines that are just, hey, we don't know all your business. Write those things in. One thing that shouldn't be on here, though, are your adult children. Now, why do I say that? Oftentimes we have, and I can tell you this at the bank, we have, or I won't say adult children, adults and other adults that you're paying bills for. Oftentimes what I see is we have families or individuals struggling to pay bills. And then when we look at the history on their account, there are a lot of payments that are actually going to benefit other adults. Now, this is not to say that you can't help your people. I'm not suggesting that at all. But what I am saying is you want to be very careful about helping somebody live a better life while you're struggling. I don't know that this is necessarily the same, the group that this would happen to, but I have, for example, a lot of senior citizens that we work with, and they're paying people's car notes that they can't even get to take them to a doctor's appointment or to the grocery store. They're paying people's phone bills that won't even call them on their birthdays. So again, I'm not saying that you shouldn't help your people. I'm just saying that as you do this exercise, you want to be honest with how you're spending your money, because some of those situations where you don't feel that you can save are often tied up in certain things that you're not even paying attention to as a bill. As a rule, I often say to people, if you're spending more than $20 or $30 on the same thing once a month, you start calling it a bill. Start calling it a bill. One thing that should be on this list that, again, you can add is, and the reason I say healthcare is because oftentimes we spend, a regular, not a cheap amount of medications that we're taking every month. I take blood pressure medication for example. That's a bill. Now, we don't normally think of it that way, but again, if you're spending $20, $30, $40 on something every month on a regular basis, you want to account for that. I'm going to pause here and answer any questions or thoughts.
And if you got any questions or thoughts, you're able to unmute yourself and ask Mr. Cheatham any questions or thoughts. Or just say ouch. About that Starbucks.
Well, yeah, this is not a judgment thing. This is just about, hey, like I said, let's be honest, because one of the things that we have, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, is many of us grew up in households where our parents didn't talk to us about money. A child stays in a child's place, right? And they didn't talk to us about it. And so we wind up making many of the same financial mistakes that our parents made. And they were making the same financial mistakes that their parents made, and so on and so on and so on. So, we're having these generational situations, and this is an opportunity to help break that cycle.
So I'm just gonna chime in.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna chime in and say that I agree with everything you're saying. I often tell my boys, you don't have to, just because you get $1, you don't have to spend $1. So I also write everything down in budget, the same way I taught my brother as well as my mother how to budget. I said, write things down, everything. You can't just say, oh, I got it in here, just, in your mind or whatever. So I agree. I understand.
Yeah. And nobody's perfect. That's, I want to be very clear that, nobody gets this right all the time. This is my 30th year at the bank, and I still struggle with a lot of these things. The goal is to create new habits and new ways of thinking that will improve our situation. It may not make it perfect, but it may, if it's better tomorrow than it was yesterday, we're still winning.
Another comment, another question or comment?
Yes, I had a question. So with the saving and everything like that, I am a young mother and I am looking into, hold on, Lionel, I am looking into getting my children either trust funds or something that can match what I'm trying to save. Do you all have any type of programs like that?
Well, not a match, no. The only place that you can usually find a match is through 401k programs or retirement programs at work. The next best thing is for people to give you money for holding on to your money. And we do that through interest. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to speed through it, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But when you invest money or deposit money, if you can put that money into something that's going to pay you interest or pay you a return, that is the next best thing to getting some sort of match. And remember, the sooner you start saving, just mathematically, the sooner you start saving, the more you'll have in the long run. Because not only will you have the money that you're putting in, you'll have the benefit of what's called compounding. And I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Understandable. It's hard for me to save, and it's hard for me to do 401k because my job doesn't provide for us a 401k. They provide 401(b), but I don't want to go through them, and I'm looking for another company to go through actually.
Understood. That would be, we can have that side conversation. I will say this, I'm as far as I understand it, the differences between a 401k and 403(b) are probably small. But the other thing about saving is a psychological benefit. And that psychological benefit is the money is coming out before you even see it. And just not paying attention to that money gives you a better opportunity to save. So I would be interested to know what the specific reasons are why you don't like the 403(b), because there may be some advantages you're not thinking about. But otherwise, the saving comes in, again, just different habits.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so these are some basic worksheets. I got these right off of Google. So I don't recommend one or the other. I'm just showing you generally what they look like and how they work. You can just go Google budgets. Remember again that it's usually on a monthly basis. And what you're going to do is list your income. And then what you're doing here under the line that says expected, that is the number that you come up with when you're planning your budget. Usually what you do when you're planning a budget is you're going to take your bills for the last 6 months and average them, because you know your bills go up and down unless it's your rent or your mortgage, but like your utility bills and things like that, those things go up and down. So you don't want to rely on the lowest month, but you don't necessarily want to rely on the highest month either. Although using the highest month is probably the best way, because then you'll always make sure that you'll have enough. But you basically take that expected number and list it. And you'll know something's wrong already if your income number is lower than your expense number. If that's the case, when you start, you automatically know that there's something that you're going to need to do differently. Then as you go through the month, you're going to list the actual numbers, because everything is not going to line up perfectly. And then you're going to list the differences. So you're going to do a little bit of math. What you expected to spend or bring in versus what you brought in or what you spent. And then you're going to do a calculation on the difference. And the goal, of course, is to have your income be larger than your expenses. The benefit of this difference calculation is to determine if maybe there's some things that you calculated incorrectly, meaning when you did your expected section, you thought you were going to spend more on something than you actually did, or you thought you were going to spend less on something than you actually did. So now for the next month, you can make that adjustment. The other part is it will allow you to figure out where you might be able to get some additional saving. Because maybe you decided, okay, wow, I didn't realize I was spending that much on this thing. I want to do something different. And sometimes it's as simple as, buying in bulk, right? When places like Costco and Sam's Club came out and people realized, hey, there's certain things that if I buy a lot of it, I can save money on it. Maybe that's how you make some of those changes. But you always want to have a line item on there for paying yourself first. I know this one has savings down in the lower section. Move that back to the top. You want to pay yourself first. This is another one. This is a bit more simple, but again, same general idea. How much you budgeted for, how much you spent, and then what's the difference. You always, of course, want to budget around your most important payments first, and then work your way down. And of course, any plan only works if you do it, right? So you got to have some discipline. So there are going to be some things that you might want to do today that you may not be able to do today. Now, that doesn't mean you can never do them, but you may have to put them off in order to, stay on track. This is something I'm really excited about. So this is a budget game. And the goal of this game is to help families have conversations about money. So this is where you teach your children that just because when you say no, when y'all go to the dollar store, the grocery store, whatever, and they want to buy this, and that, and you're telling them no, it's not because you want to be mean. It's to teach it. It's, of course, you know this. It's to make sure that you have money for things that are more important, right? Well, this game kind of shows young people, especially, how money actually works in the real world. And so if you look at the grid here, if you look here on the left row, the left column, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, the thing that you want to keep in mind is there's 6 sections here, and there's 6 sides on a die. So the way you play this game is you roll, and every roll is a different category. So my first roll is going to be monthly income. So if I were to roll a 2, that means my monthly income is going to be $2,000. Then my next roll is going to be monthly housing. And let's say I roll a 4. So now my monthly housing amount is going to be $800. And so on and so on and so on. So you're going to wind up rolling 5 times. Once for your monthly income, and then once for each category for expenses. And so as you play this game, you'll be doing math, which is, you should have your children do the math, and you would fill it in on this chart here. So you're going to roll, put your monthly income, then you're going to list the different other categories. And then you're going to do some math. So you're going to list your monthly income, and you're going to subtract your expenses. And then you're going to come up with a total. Now, hopefully your total is positive. But then again, this goes back to what we talked about with budgeting and things like that. Now, the part about fixed or variable, basically the idea there is a fixed cost or a fixed expense is something that's the same every month, like your rent, like your car note, that sort of thing. Whereas variable is something that can change every month, like your phone bill, like your utilities, that sort of thing. But for this particular exercise, I wouldn't worry so much about fixed or variable. You just want to get the math done. And then you want to have a conversation about the number that you came up with. So if you have a positive number, meaning your income is higher than your expenses, you have a positive cash flow. And that is great. That's where you start talking about, okay, now we got some money to set aside for saving, right? If a negative cash flow, again, if you get through this process and you wind up running out of money before you are able to pay for all of those expenses, of course, that's an issue. And then finally, balance, where you're breaking even. Now, you would have thought that maybe I would have had a happy face for balance, but not really, because of course, that means that if you have any hiccup, which I'm sure we all have hiccups each month, any hiccup will throw you into a negative cash flow. And so the goal is to shoot for a positive cash flow. And sometimes that positive cash flow is helped by or supported by that emergency fund that we talked about, where you're saving 3 to 6 months of interest, or 3 to 6 months of your bills or saving. So I'm going to go back to the game really quickly and show you. Now, as you roll the die, there's going to be many combinations where you're going to wind up just fine. But what you want to do is also talk about how you got the particular roll that you got. So you rolled it, and you see that if your monthly income is $1,500 a month, well, if you buy a large house, you're automatically upside down after the first roll. So this helps you have a conversation with your child about how you spend your money. Because of course, we all want, a mansion and, an expensive car and all of those things. And that's fine to want those things, but you want to explain to the child, hey, there's just some things we're going to have to do differently until we can get that type of income, right? So sometimes that means instead of, for example, having, all of the bells and whistles on our cable and paying $850 a month for utilities, maybe we're going to have to scale back for right now so that we can afford some other more important things as it relates to the bills that we have each month. So, Mr. Williams, you can send this out. I did send you the email. You can forward this deck to everybody. And I hope that you'll, spend some time with the family and play this game. It'll really spark some great conversations, and it will help you seem more like, so that you're less the bad guy when you say no, because they'll get a better understanding of exactly the reasons behind the decisions that you make. Now, I know that we're at time, but I am definitely willing to stay on and answer any questions you all might have.
All right, parents, if there are any more questions, comments, suggestions, just unmute yourself. And
I just have a comment for the young lady if she's still on. One way, easy way, she said she struggled to save money. One thing I can tell her to do is whatever amount of money that she starts her budget, leave it there. So what I mean by that is if you start your budget, let's say your job is $100 and you pay all your bills with that $100. In the next year, if you now make $120, don't change your budget. Continue to budget at $100. The next year, let's say you're at $140. Don't change your budget. Continue to budget your money at $100. If you make $160, you can see where I'm going with this. At this point, you're not adding on the extra money that you're getting. So regardless, that's saving. Just a little tidbit. Easier way for somebody like her who said, it's a little harder for me. So any extra that you get, try not to even add that into whatever you're budgeting. Sorry.
Thank
no,
you.
thank you, Ms. Thompson. Thank you for chiming in. I think that's a great way to do it. I mean, just don't put your bonus in there. Don't put your raise in there. Don't spend your bonus or your raise. Ms. Stewart, you got a comment? A question?
Yeah, I have a comment. I was looking at a TikTok and it said that money is like a mistress. If you don't pay attention to her, she'll leave you. And so from listening to that, I actually started looking at my money more so closely, and just little things, just from looking at where I'm spending my money, I found different ways to save. So, I would always go to, my daughter and I, my family would always go to the movies on Tuesdays for $5. Then we buy the popcorn and the candy at the movie theater. Honestly, right now, what we do is we just get the candy at the grocery store, the same size, and bring it in.
Hold on now. I know we all do it, but we can't talk about it on air.
Okay.
we all guilty of it. Yeah,
right.
That movie candy is robbery.
One of the other things is like if you have a subscription, you like threaten to leave, and then it'll just keep going down because they want to keep you in certain subscriptions. Mm-hmm. So I've had things, start off at $30 a month. It's all the way down to $5 a month from doing that, and then it was stretch money.
Yeah, no, good, yeah. Now, really quickly, I am going to talk about some other things in future meetings. So we are going to talk a little bit about investing. I mentioned that we're going to talk about saving in terms of interest and things like that. So just know that this is a broader conversation. As I mentioned before, this slideshow usually takes about an hour with questions and answers. So just, this is just a taste.
That it is, parents. And also, in the very near future, you guys, we'll be sending out an email asking questions about financial education. So Mr. Cheatham and his team to kind of learn more of what you want to talk about, whether it be entrepreneurs, small businesses. So that email will be coming out in the next couple of days here. So survey, it's only 11 questions. Please, I need you to respond back to it, answer questions, but we're going to take the information, and Mr. Cheatham and his team can then start putting together different. They want to talk about what you want to talk about and what you want to know about financial education, investing, 401k, whatever it may be. If you fill out that form, and then that way he will have information to know how to graph the next parent meeting, which will be outside of the PPN meeting. It'll just be a financial education parent meeting. So that's that. Look out for that survey. and please respond back to it because we need your information to get feedback on what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Mr. Cheatham, thank you so much for this, as you say, this little small snapshot, this little small opportunity, but it was very powerful, impactful. Again, I learned a lot from it, but the key, like you said, no matter what it is, just start. Just start saving something. Just start saving something. You'll be amazed how over time, $5 go to $7, $7 go to $10, $10 go to $12, and over several years, how much money you've saved with interest. So parents, that's the message for tonight, is just start somewhere with as little as it may be, but the key word is just to start. It's almost like losing weight. Just try to exercise. I listen to my own medicine now. At least try to exercise once a week. Just start one day a week, and then go to 2 days, and then 3.
and this again, and then too, this does not mean you cannot enjoy your money. You work hard for your money. This is just a situation where, not that any of y'all on the phone drink hard, but you know, you might enjoy all of those drinks that night, but you're going to pay for it in the morning. The goal is to teach you how to manage your money in a way that you don't have a hangover later, that you had such a good time with your money, and then the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year, you're paying for it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cheatham. Again, parents, if you have not yet done so, please make sure you put your names, your child's grade and name in the chat. We want to know who is on the call today. Make sure they get that reward for you attending tonight. But again, please, in the next couple of days, we'll send out that survey, asking about financial education questions that you guys may have. It's a very short survey, but it's very impactful and powerful, and we give Mr. Cheatham a direction on what things you guys want to talk about. We're here for you. So we're Channel Park is a village. We're all about educating ourselves, the parents, the students, the staff. So this is an opportunity we're going to look forward to this school year of just educating and sharing with one another. If there are no other questions, and no other questions for the principals, we're going to let you go. Hope everybody have a safe night. Stay warm. And the next PPN meeting will be in January. And I'll let you know when the next financial workshop will be, as well as Mr. Cheatham puts together their calendar for the 2025. All right, parents, thank you so much for coming. And any questions you may have between that time and this time, just reach out to me, WilliamsK@channelparkacademy.net, WilliamsK@channelparkacademy.net. I'm here to support you, parents, so just reach out to me. Everybody, have a great night.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. And parents, thank you.